everybody. Welcome to Build. I am your host, Ricky Camilleri. Our next guest is one of the stars of the hit Broadway play, Be More Chill. And in it, one might argue George Salazar has the song of the show with Michael in the bathroom. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who dons the creep shirt himself, George Salazar.
Yay!
Sir.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
You know, we had Will and we had Joe here, and I didn't say this to them while they're here. And if they watch this, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you guys this. I didn't want to say anything mean to Will. Will, you're amazing in the show, but George, your song kind of steals the show in the middle of the show. What is that like to be a supporting character who has the song that steals the show?
Well, first and foremost,
He won't cop to it.
What feels
You won't cop. I mean, you're a good guy. You won't cop to it.
it's for me. It's you know, this is a song that I have been singing since 2014. As an actor, you know, we do so many developmental stages of so many musicals that never see the light of day. And to have been able to be a part of the inception of a show, to watch its journey, to be a part of its journey, and then to kind of reach the pinnacle of a musical's journey, right? Like there's what happens after Broadway, well, movie adaptation, but that takes years, and by then I'll be in my 50s. And I'll have no business playing a teenager.
Maybe you'll be like one of the teachers in the show.
Yeah, like lunch lady, a cameo as a lunch lady. I would look great in a hairnet.
A cameo where you linger in the background or just pop up and are like, do you want chili?
Just staring directly into the camera, so the director's like, why did we hire this guy? No, but you know, so
Mr. Salazar, I didn't do the homework.
again, staring right into the camera. No, it feels amazing because it's a song that has by this point, I mean, it's like changed. This song has changed my life, and so I have obviously a very strong personal connection to the song. But it's also, you know, it has become this kind of gateway drug into our musical, no pun intended, or pun intended actually. And it's a song that so many people have kind of related to in a really like deep and meaningful way. And so less about stealing a show or less about being the song from the show. It's an opportunity for me to keep finding new ways to keep this song feeling fresh and new every night. I promise you, if you come back twice, Michael in the bathroom, you'll find something new because I'm finding something new every night. And
you said changed your life. Did it change your life when you first went to Jersey to do it, or was it afterwards when you started seeing it kind of bubble up on the internet?
Both. You know, when we were in New Jersey, prior to that, I had not been trusted with a character with an arc like this. I was typically cast as the nerdy, funny, silly best friend, and like that was kind of the extent of that character's arc, right? And so for the first time as an artist, I was able to really sink my teeth into something that on the scale and the spectrum of emotional depth, like this character kind of runs the gamut. And so it was the first time that I got to like really bite into a role and feel really satisfied and like full.
Well, someone cast you as the nerdy, funny, silly best friend, but with an arc this time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, which is so... That's an incredible gift when someone sees the way that you've been getting cast and goes, well, let's do that, but let's finally make it as fulfilling as it could possibly be, so you can potentially move on from getting cast in that role to a degree.
And that's just another reason why I love Joe Iconis. Is like when we, in the early stages of this thing, we would be sitting, we would be talking to each other, and he would say like, man, you're so good, and like people just don't know, like people don't get it, and like they're gonna get it someday, George. They're gonna get it. And we've had so many of these, like, you know, we've had many drunken conversations.
Did you know him prior to signing up for Be More Chill in New Jersey? So how long have you known Joe? Because we had, like I said, we had Will and Joe here. And Will had also known Joe since 2007. Plus Joe's wife is in the show. So it seems like a fairly, like a family affair in a lot of ways.
100%. I met Joe in 2011. I was doing the Broadway revival of Godspell. And Jen Tepper, who is one of our lead producers on Be More Chill, was working for our lead producer, Ken Davenport, during Godspell and invited Joe to a preview performance of Godspell, and we all ended up at a bar, like you do, and Jen introduced us and said, Joe, this is George. George, this is Joe. You guys should make things together. That's literally how the introduction went. And then all these years later, we continue to make things. We've done, Be More Chill was our first show together, but since then we've done Broadway Bounty Hunter, which is having its premiere off Broadway this summer in New York. Which I will not be able to be in, which it was really depressing.
Because you're in Be More Chill.
Yeah. And then we've been developing this Hunter S. Thompson bio musical that will have its world premiere at La Jolla Playhouse, hopefully next year.
Are you playing Hunter Thompson?
I am not, but I'm playing Oscar Zeta Acosta, who is Hunter Thompson's
lawyer,
best friend and personal attorney, who was the inspiration for Dr. Gonzo in Fear and Loathing, played by Benicio del Toro in the film. So we continue to make things. We have a 2-person cabaret act. I mean, my collaboration with Joe has become the most fruitful and rewarding and satisfying collaboration of my artistic career.
So in a lot of ways, he wrote Michael in the Bathroom for you.
That would be nice to say, but he didn't. Oddly enough, actually, Jason Tam, who plays the Squip in our show, is the person who sang it on the demo. However, I found an email from Joe from 2013 where he said, "Hey George, I want to record you doing this demo of this new song. Are you available this day?"
Goes back to 2013.
Yeah.
So this is a show that's been in the works for 6-7 years for Joe.
Yeah.
Wow. And
musicals take a long time.
Yes, this is true. And how long have you been a part of it?
Since 2014, I did my first workshop in 2014.
And what was it like in 2014 versus what it is now?
Oh, very different. We had a different director back then. They were still trying to figure out who these people were. I felt like Michael. Joe Trace and Joy Connis had a really solid point of view with Michael. But when I first came across the script and across the music, Michael in the Bathroom was like severely lower than it is now. And so I love telling the story that doing so many workshops, my way of securing a job is always to ask the composer, can we sing it higher?
Oh, okay. That's lower in register, not like I got
lower in register. Yeah. I think it originally started with I am hanging in a bathroom. And that's like so low for me. So I was like, I remember standing at a piano with Joe. We were like going higher and higher and higher. But that's how I would kind of ensure job security.
Can we go a little, can I show off a little bit for you guys?
Maybe like you're going to live up here.
I think if we go way up, they're just not going to be able to deny me. So let's just try that, which is what happened.
And eventually it worked.
So when you guys finish in New Jersey, you basically thought you were done, right?
Yeah. The Times came and didn't like it, and gave us a not as favorable review, and it seemed like the show kind of died. But the good people at Ghostlight Records, Kurt Deutsch primarily, decided that they needed to preserve this score, and so we recorded the cast album in the summer of 2015. That came out in October of 2015, and 2016 happened, and then 2017, all of a sudden, someone discovered Michael in the Bathroom.
Now this is an interesting moment. Someone discovered Michael in the Bathroom. Has it been traced back to who discovered it and where its root moments were?
Patient Zero, you mean?
Yeah, because something that goes viral that ends up creating a cult hit, that ends up creating a sold-out off-Broadway run and a Broadway run, deserves to be known who that one person was.
I blame the Russians, but they're not.
The one thing the Russians got right here.
Yeah, but they're not fessing up to it. No, I've heard a couple of stories. I met 2 young people in New Jersey who run Tumblr accounts who said that they were the first people to post, share a video of a performance of Michael in the Bathroom. Whoever it was, if you're watching, thank you. Because that move on the internet kind of created a chain reaction that kind of exceeded any of our expectations. Truly.
So when did you find out you were going to get another run?
In the fall of 2017, Joe, was it 20? Yeah, it was 2017. Joe and I and Jen Tepper started talking about, because I was seeing my social media numbers like going crazy. Like I had like 4,000 followers on Instagram. Like no one, and it was mostly friends and maybe bots that my mom bought to make me look more important. And then all of a sudden it was like these numbers were just spiking in such a crazy way. And there was all this fan art and it was like mind blowing. And so we all started chatting about, we got to start finding a producer who will look at these numbers and will care. And I took meetings with producers, and Joe took meetings, and Jen took meetings. And eventually, we landed on Jerry Gehring. And I was on a vacation, a birthday retreat, upstate, snowed in, was in a lake, paid extra to get a lake house with a dock, snowed in, like couldn't open the door because the snow was like up to here.
Did you at least have a fireplace?
No.
Oh. That sounds terrible.
Oh, it was awful. And then we lost power, and we found a puzzle that was missing one piece. We finished the puzzle, and it was like, and so, but I got a phone call shoveling snow in the driveway. Eventually got service and got a phone call from Joe, and he was like, "We're gonna do an off-Broadway run at the Signature Theater on 42nd Street." I just like broke down crying. I cry a lot. I'm very this whole thing is maybe very, very emotional. I was already emotional, but now I'm like extremely emotional.
Because it's that deep gratitude that something like this is working out. Yeah.
Yeah, because all of this feels like
years in the making.
Yeah, but also just like divine intervention in a really crazy cosmic way. It's like, everything that has led to this point feels like, well, I could have made a right turn, but I just kind of made a left turn instead. And all those left turns led us to this point. And it's really like overwhelming to like sit here in this room and like look at people wearing creep shirts or the lightning thief shirts. And like, you know what I mean? It's like, I think our hope as artists is that the things we create kind of resonate with the people who are watching it. That sure that we provide some sort of escape to our audiences, but if you're lucky, you get to make something that has a lasting effect and impact on someone, and even just one person's life. And over the last couple of years, I've heard many stories about how this musical has really, in some ways, like saved people's lives, and it feels like the best responsibility ever to be a part of something like this. Truly.
But what's also different about this musical versus being in even another original musical is that it's not just that you originated this character. You were telling me backstage that you ended up getting the chance to put a lot of yourself into this character, that at a certain point you were kind of developing the character with Joe and the writer. So in a lot of ways, while this character I'm sure is vastly different from you in your high school experience, in some ways, in another way, it maybe mirrors how you felt about high school and about yourself.
Yeah, 100%. With Michael, I wanted to create with the Joes and Stephen Brackett and Chase Brock a character that an audience would watch and think like, I wish I had a best friend like that. Like I wish I had someone who had my back, and I also wish I could be that type of a best friend to someone else. And so in crafting that, I think we've hit a sweet spot. And Joe talks about it. There's like this kind of there's like a really nice moment when actor and character kind of just sync up, and I in so many ways feel really like connected with this kid, Michael Mell. He's delightfully weird and silly and irreverent and strange and optimistic in a world that is in this world it's like There's no optimism. Like Jeremy feels like his life is over at 16.
You have a bit more of or Michael has a bit more of a macro perspective on high school, which is that this ends soon and we move on.
And I wish I had that in high school because everything felt so important and so final and so, I mean, everything just felt so high stakes. And then you go to college and then everything feels so high stakes. You're like, oh, this is actually more important and more high stakes than that. And then you become an adult and you're like, I can't believe I wasted time worrying about that stuff, you know? Yeah. Like, it's a perspective thing. And so in many ways, I feel like every 8 times a week, I get to kind of get a second chance at my high school experience. And playing this part, I think, in a really crazy way, it's like made me like a better person. I find that I've become more compassionate. I've become a better listener. I've become a better friend to my friends playing this role.
Even though
100%.
you found all this success? You've had the opposite effect that success normally has on actors.
I'm sure my friends would look at you and tell you, George, no, he's a jerk. That guy's a jerk.
Like you'd be sitting with them and you'd be like, I'm so much more compassionate. And then as soon as you turn around, like, no, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Really, he's not a good guy at all.
I was going to say asshole, but this is a live thing.
You're allowed. You're allowed.
Great.
Yeah. Except I don't know our audience. We're all okay. We're all okay here.
I say it in the show.
You can say that. It's a PG. It's a PG curse word. I think.
No, yeah, it's perspective's always been an important thing to me. Like I remember being when I first started doing professional theater. When I first was working professionally, I was doing the Spring Awakening second national tour, and there's this amazing actress, Elizabeth Judge. She's in Hamilton right now. She was playing Venla, and there was a day she was 18 and I was 24. There was a day when we were probably in like Tucson, Arizona. I was just like, oh, you guys, I don't want to do the show tonight. I'm going to call out and just watch TV. And she looked at me and she was like, George, do you know how many hundreds of people would like kill to be able to have the job that you have, to be doing the show that you get to do every night? And she just like looked at me, and in my head I was like, you're 18 years old. Shut up. Like, you're not allowed to school me. I'm 24. I've been legally allowed to drink for 3 years. You just became old enough to vote.
I'm age appropriate for my bitterness.
Exactly.
Okay?
But that like kind of like lesson she served me in that moment stuck with me for many years. And it's I feel very fortunate that that my purpose in life and my mission as an artist is like so crystal clear to me, because a lot of people struggle with, what do I do? You know?
Doesn't theater kind of help with that? I mean, or being a working actor in theater rather than in TV and film. I mean, there are working actors there as well, but it's a different kind of gig where you're on for 2 or 3 days and then you're off looking for a job. In theater, you land a part, you're working 5 days a week, six days a week for months at a time. You know, you have this sort of, I think you have a different view of the industry as a whole, because you're also coming up usually from the chorus or something else.
Yeah,
you're
or
not
from
a lead
the
role.
unemployment line.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
We have a question coming in from Twitter. It's what aspect of Michael do you relate to the most?
Oh, hi Taylor.
Banana 23.
Yeah, Banana 23, Moon 23.
Oh, is that a moon? I thought it was a banana.
What aspect of Michael do I relate to the most? To be honest with you, the social anxiety aspect. So like I was just at a gala the other day, which is the worst sentence to ever come out of my mouth. But
How much more compassion these days, George?
But I was at this stuffy room. However, we were celebrating an organization that does incredible work. But it was like I was performing, and it was kind of an all eyes on you situation. I'm in a suit, people are in tuxedos, and like there's like a salad fork and like your entree fork, and I don't like what? Why do I need 2 forks? And I was seated at this table, and everyone at the table was very nice, but I was like starting to get this like terrible social anxiety, and I kid you not, I excused myself from the table 4 times and escaped to the bathroom and literally stood in a stall for like 4 minutes
Just
and
hung out.
I at the end of the night I was taking the train home, and I was like, they all probably think I have some weird stomach thing.
Or they thought you were a method actor and were doing Michael in the bathroom like while you were at dinner. Like, no, this is just how he prepares for tomorrow's show. He goes and hangs out in a stall by himself.
I have a feeling they just think I have some weird stomach thing.
We have some questions in the audience. Who is it? Right here. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
So my question is, how has your growing social media influence impacted your daily life?
That's a great question. A lot of my friends were worried about me because I was like making social media kind of like my second job. And this was like in the height of everything before we had a production in line. That's one of the aspects of all of this that has made me a better person. I have been able to connect with the people who love this show and who are really quite responsible for the show getting to Broadway. And so it's helped me to be more of an understanding person. I'm hearing stories from people of all walks of life, and it's been an instance where I feel like social media has not been a terrible, world-ending, evil thing. You know, it's been really nice to be able to connect with fans and and talk to them and listen to them. You know,
Isn't that a line in the show? It's how you use the tools rather than like when it's talking about technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've kind of figured that out when it comes to social media.
What a great listener! You remember that line? That I almost forgot that line in the show the other day. Yeah. Unless you use it like you do, like it's about how we use technology. And so so for me, I grew up mixed race. I'm Filipino and Ecuadorian, and I had such a hard time growing up because I didn't see myself represented in media. Like I didn't. John Leguizamo was, I think, the closest. His performance in Tu Wong Fu, seeing him like play a drag queen was like really exciting. But I didn't see like anyone like me, and so with this happening and speaking to so many young people who feel like they see them like so many brown kids and gay kids who come to the stage door and have the sweetest, nicest things to say and really feeling seen. It is at first it was like, oh my God, like, this is really intense. But then I was like, wait, this is the best thing. Like, this is the greatest thing to come from this, is that like if I can somehow be a representative of several different types of people who can see me doing this thing that I love so much and pouring my heart and my soul into my work, they can feel like they can do this too. And so social media has really allowed me to be able to like bridge that gap between the fan and the performer so that there doesn't feel like there is a gap, you know? I remember meeting Norbert Leo Butz after a performance of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels when I was in college. And he stood at the stage door long after everyone had left to chat with me. And I was just so like taken by his generosity and his just like authenticity in that moment. And he made me feel like anything was possible. And so now that the tables have turned and I can be someone like that, I don't hesitate for a second, you know?
Absolutely. Next question. Hi.
How do you do the body roll in like More Than Survive?
Okay, so her walk over was off camera, but it was such a slow burn to the spike mark, and then to ask the body roll question, really, I'm gonna cry. It was beautiful. That was beautiful delivery. The body roll actually comes from Godspell. So this is a little thing. So like Beowulf Borat, our scenic designer, he likes to put elephants in all of his scenic design for every show. So there's little elephants hidden throughout the Be More Chill set.
Why?
It's just a little thing. It's like you leave your like calling card, you know? And for me, I like to throw a little bit of something into everything. And for me, it's the body roll. The body roll has been in Tick, Tick, Boom. The body roll has been in The Lightning Thief. The body roll emanated from Godspell. And it was Celise Henderson and Julia Madison. We did it in the show. You hit your head with a closed fist, not too hard because you don't want to concuss. And you allow the motion to lean back, and then you lean it forward, and then it just kind of, the energy goes out of from your toes. And that is how to do the body roll. Wow, you guys asking the hard-hitting questions.
I won't make you do a full demonstration. Don't worry, unless you want to.
I mean,
do you want to stand up and do? Yeah, I just pulled myself out of making you do it, and then made you.
Yeah. There's, I think
pretty great.
Thank you. I think if someone else did it, it could be sexy. Do you know what I mean? But when I do it, it's
You
not.
can make it sexy. I think the added makes it like Pee Wee Herman-esque and not sexy anymore.
So should I just go?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Two more. What do we got? Right here.
Hi.
Hey.
So my question is, I know you briefly spoke about it, but what was it like to watch the show grow, not only from off-Broadway to Broadway, but in different schools and being able to grow with it?
We were talking about this right before we started. It's a really crazy phenomenon. Like it feels like we had nothing to do with it, but we had everything to do with it. It's been mind-blowing. I literally can't say anything else.
One more. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
How do you ease your mind after performing such an emotional song like Michael in the Bathroom every night?
That's a great question. Immediately after the song, I have to get into drag for Smartphone Hour. So I have to put fake boobs on and a wig, and that is how I get out of...
It's actually, they've made it very easy.
They make
for
it
you.
very easy. And then I
completely-
go into this thing, and they lower me in. It's crazy.
George, congratulations on the show.
Hey,
it's really
thanks.
incredible. It's at the Lyceum Theater right now on Broadway. Everybody give George Salazar a huge round of applause.